our house on weekends, Julia.
And I called you my little sister.
Two good people who took you under their wing. You're absolutely right. From Uniontown, Pennsylvania, Mary Buckfa and her brother, Stephen Buckfa. And here they are. Perhaps the love you gave Julia this time made her able to endure the nightmare time ahead of her. Now, your parents were fond of her, too, weren't they, Miss Buckfa?
Remember you called my mother, father, and my brother and sister.
Is that so? And she called your mother, father, mother, and dad. Is that it?
Mother and father. That's right. And called me brother and sister.
But soon Julia leaves Uniontown. What was her reason for leaving Uniontown, Mr. Buckfa?
She visited with the family that's taking care of her little brother Mike. She was afraid what might happen to him.
Yes. Julia writes now and then, but you don't realize the danger she is in. Is that right, Mr.
That's
Buckfa?
right. The only regret I have, Julia, that I didn't know, I wish I did, was saving that unhappy experience whereby you almost lost both of your legs.
Well, thanks for being with us, Mary Buckfa and Stephen Buckfa. You'll see Julia later. Now, we're going to continue your story in a moment. How about all these surprises, meeting these friends in the past?
It's almost impossible, but only Hollywood does things like this.
Oh, I wish you'd said only this is your life that does things like this.
Well, I mean, it's your life.
We think they're both mighty wonderful. But we're going to continue your story in a moment. So, Julia Judd, okay? I know you'll welcome a moment to get your breath. Right now, let's train our sights on Bob Warren, who seems to be doing some stargazing. Also, very much, Bob Warren. Thank you. Back to This Is Your Life. This is Julia Judge of Washington, D.C. 1924 now, Julia Judd. You're 14. You return to the family that's keeping your young brother Mike. It's a return to bondage and worse, but you think only of Mike's protection. Now, these people put you to work in a glass factory. What they do, forge your age? Because you were...
They did.
You were actually only about 14, I think, at the time. Your work there is before an open hearth furnace while they collect your wages. Do you want to tell us about the accident in the glass factory?
Well, the accident, I was working at the open hearth. The glass pouring out of the furnace, I suppose it's called.
Yes.
Splashed on my leg. Later on, I contracted osteomyelitis.
Your legs refused to heal. Yeah, your bone decay.
It is a bone decay.
And that develops. And where did these people keep you while your legs were threatened with gangrene?
Well, they in the house. And of course my leg got worse, and I couldn't walk. And I was just at the mercy of those who could help me.
A neighbor learns of your critical condition. Authorities rush you to a hospital. A doctor indicates both your legs may have to be amputated. That night you pray. What was the pledge you made?
Well, I asked God if I could ever walk again, I would never cease to work for children.
Your prayer is answered.
Yes, my prayer was answered. I don't walk now, I run.
Another doctor overruled the idea of amputation and your legs are saved.
A wonderful woman found you in that hospital, rescued her, and gave her her first real home Julia ever knew.
It's Agnes Thomas at Conwayville, Pennsylvania.
A friend from your later life, Julia. You sure know all the people out of your past. They made indelible friendships on your memory. She has come to join you from her home in Conwayville, Pennsylvania, Miss Agnes Hunnisek. Here is Agnes. Now, the woman who rescued Julia from the hospital is no longer alive, and since you've known Julia for so long, Agnes, and know her so well, will you tell us about this wonderful lady?
It was Mrs. Fuller.
Mrs. Fuller. Mrs. Charles Fuller.
She treated her like a daughter and gave her her first education.
Here in a loving home at last, you win the strength and hope to make a whole new life, Julia. How long did you live with Mrs. Fuller?
Well, I was 20. And I came to Washington to see a brother of mine who was stationed at Fort Myers, Virginia. And I fell in love with the beautiful city of Washington, D.C.
Now, what good things during that time, apart from that, happened, Agnes?
The nicest thing that happened to Julia, she located her brother Joe that was lost for years. The two of them together had found their little brother Mike and took him from the farm and brought him in to live with little Joe.
With Joe in Washington, D.C., and that's where you were talking about. Because of the kindness of Mrs. Fuller, the tide in your life, Julia, takes a new and happier turn. Thank you, Miss Agnes Honeysek from Connellsville, Pennsylvania. You'll see Julia a little later. With Mrs. Fuller's encouragement, you go to Washington, D.C. to take a job and be near your brother. Life, which has denied you the love your heart had always longed for, seemed to make up for it all with a rush. You meet the one right, wonderful man.
Honey, I didn't know when we married that you were going to turn our home into a sub-post office.
Sure, my husband.
He's here too, Julia. He left his business, Judge's Inc., a duplicating firm in Washington, to rush out here. Your husband, Joseph P. Judge. Here's Mr. Judge. You think he can't keep a secret, huh? Julia began making good on her pledge to help
I
orphan
thought he was
children.
watching the sights tonight.
Please, don't tell about our opposition. So, that's what you do, eh? Mr. Judge, you tell us about this. Julia began making good on her pledge to help orphan children. Is that it?
She certainly did.
Come on over and stand by her. She needs your help. Sit by her if you want, right over here. Just cross in front of her, that's all right. Because we want to keep her close to us. I know it isn't a gentlemanly thing to do, but let me lead it. Man who promised.
Certainly did, Mr. Edwards. She seemed to be set afire with zeal to do good for others, for the little orphan children. Many a night I would come home and open up the door of our little apartment and look into the living room, and it'd be literally covered with cartons, full, and ready to be packed, clothing here, hats here, underwear. I'd have to, you know what I'd have to do? I'd have to climb over those things to get upstairs and wash my face.
That's true.
All these were things you collected for the orphans?
Yes.
Julia?
Yes.
Did you sit up many a night wrapping packages too?
Yes, many a night, almost all the whole night long, she would wash every bit of clothing, press every bit of clothing, because she didn't want these little orphan children to have anything but clean clothes when they got them.
Well, as you sit here beside your wife, Mr. Judge, we're going to learn more about her remarkable work. 1947 now, and you decide to found an organization to carry on your charitable work. You'll call it the
Good Samaritan Society.
of Washington, D.C.
Right.
It seems your very footsteps are being directed to the right place at the right time.
The very day that Julia went to see Sister Mary Jerome of her parish convent,
Mary
Sister
McDonald.
received a letter from her United States Army chaplain in Japan.
You were right. Another dear friend. Who'd you say?
Mary McDonald, Miss Mary McDonald of Washington, D.C.
From her home in Silver Springs, Maryland, a member of your Good Samaritan Society, Mary McDonald. Here she is. What was in that letter that you just told us about, Mary? What was in that letter Sister Mary Jerome received from the Army chaplain?
She wrote that the thousands of orphans in Japan and the plight of the Sisters of Charity and their desperate effort to provide orphanages for them.
So a new task is made clear to you, Julia Judge. You will help these orphans and help bring children to the church. Thank you, Mary McDonald. Here in 1947, through social benefits and by ceaseless personal solicitation, you begin to raise thousands of dollars to carry on the work of your Good Samaritan Society. Patiently, a few packages at a time, you and your group collect tons of clothing, medicines, and other supplies for these homeless little ones overseas.
No one can say no to Julia Judge. She is so obviously an inspired individual that no one can resist her appeals for charity.
We threw you a curve on this. This is Ophelia. That's the fellow who helped us bring you to California. Army Reserve Colonel and former New York Times correspondent from Washington, D.C. Here again is Colonel John Hinkle. Some of Mrs. Judge's works of inspiration. Do you think she's been given a great gift of opening people's hearts, Colonel Hinkle?
I do, sir, and I have reason to believe that prayers asked in her behalf are very powerful.
Well, now, why do you say that, sir?
Well, sir, shortly after I met Julia, my young son Christopher, age 5, was stricken with polio. He received wonderful care from the doctors, nurses, and physiotherapists at Children's Hospital in Washington. Then I myself contracted the disease. You remember, Julia, I called you, and you cabled the nuns in Japan to pray for us, and both my son and I had amazing recoveries. And I'm sure those prayers helped.
Thank you, Colonel John Hinkle. Thank you, Julia. Who can say, Julia, that there may not have been a reason for the sufferings you endured? The love of which you were so long deprived in your childhood has been returned 100-fold in the affection of all the little ones you've helped on both sides of the ocean. Your wonderful husband here, and especially in your own 2 children, 14-year-old Joe Jr., here he is, and 12-year-old Michael. Joe and Michael, you handsome guys. Oh, man, aren't these handsome guys? Come on, Mom, sit down. We'll group the boys around you. This is your life, Julia Judge. And its influence may be felt in the hearts and homes of countless young lives for generations to come. Now, in a moment, we'll have a word about your future, but first, an important beauty tip for all you busy, busy women. Very much, Bob Warren. Here is for your future, Julia Judge. If I can get it open, here we are. Prell has this beautiful gold charm bracelet for you, designed by Marshall Jewelers with 14-karat charms to depict the happier days and events of your life. Prell wants you to have a 16-millimeter film of tonight's program, and so you can enjoy it and have other movies at home for your boys. Prell presents you with a 16-millimeter Bell & Howell sound projector. Now, there'll be a wonderful party in your honor tonight at the beautiful Hotel Knickerbocker here in Hollywood. All your friends and family have been staying at the Knickerbocker. And from now on, Miss Judge, you won't have to take the family car away from your husband, the old jalopy, when you go out collecting things for orphan children. Your many cartons of clothes and supplies can ride in your new 1956 Mercury, which Prell wants you to have as a gift from Coal Finder Chicago Mercury dealers. There are the keys to your Mercury. Also, we know, in many a past Christmas, hundreds of orphans would have been without a toy or gift if it had not been for you. So to help you make Christmas merry for those children this year, Prell presents this substantial check to your Good Samaritan Society of Washington, D.C. We thank you for the lesson of your life.
$500.
It tells all of us this. Take the time. Help the orphanage in your town. Look for a child you can help. There may be a breaking heart that you can mend. This is your life. This is Julia Judge. Good night. God bless.
Our guests flying to Hollywood by TWA, Transworld Airlines, who now fly the newest and most luxurious airplane in the skies. Fly the finest, fly TWA Super G Constellation. This is Your Life was booked.
The critics rave Broadway love, The Devil's Disciples, starring Maurice Evans. 90 minutes of riotous fun Sunday afternoon on NBC television.